What's going on YouTube? JT's Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. It's been a while since I've done one of these. We are back this time. We're going to be talking about Batman number 106. Today's the first day of DC Infinite Frontier, and I'm excited to talk about it. I've been, eagerly anticipating Infinite Frontier. I'm most excited for this book because it's got the backup Robin story, Demon Detective, which is going to lead into the Robin story. But for the most part, I think I've liked Tinian's Batman run. I liked it more than Tom King's Batman run, but I think it wasn't as good as Tomasi's Detective Comics run or Tinian's Detective Comics run. I mean, there's some good things in it, but like some things were kind of just hit or miss at times. I feel like he's kind of just throwing in so many like new characters kind of at once instead of utilizing other members of the Bat family that we already have. It feels like every series is like, okay, here's a new character, here's Punchline, here's Ghostmaker, here's this Miracle Molly character, and here's this character, and here's this new character, here's my new character. And I'm like, it's cool now, but like there's other characters I feel like could be utilized more. But here we go. So so Batman this time around, he so let's go ahead and kind of do a brief summary of the issue. Of course, James Tynion was the writer, Jorge Jimenez was the artist, and of course, being Jorge, his artwork is absolutely phenomenal. We start the issue off with a really cool new looking design for Scarecrow, talking about fear and all that other stuff. We also see Batman. Now, this is the Batman who lost all his money, which happened in Joker War through some complicated means. Now, the Fox family has all of Bruce Wayne's money. I think the Fox family has his money, and they're just not going to give it back to him. But yeah, Bruce Wayne is no longer a billionaire; he's a millionaire, so he's kind of limited with his resources. Like his Batmobile is even stripped down, and he moved out of Wayne Manor, and he's kind of living in a decent home, but it's definitely no Wayne Manor. And of course, we have Barbara Gordon, who is fulfilling the Oracle role. Now, I read the Infinite Frontier issue, which I'll do a video on that later on. I just want to get this Batman 106 thing done. But with Infinite Frontier, she kind of talks about how she's like, I'll show up as Batgirl kind of every once in a while, but it's in the hands of Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown. It's like, it'll be easier on my implants. So I'm just going to kind of stick to Oracle for the time being, which I'm like, yeah, at this point, I feel like Barbara Gordon should kind of just stick with the Oracle role. And, if she has to show up as Batgirl, then she can do it maybe like a special appearance once in a while. But I think she should just kind of stick with it as Oracle. And speaking of which, you can kind of see right there. Look at that creepy face. Why would you have that on your chair? Like every time I turn around, I feel like there's something watching me. So anyway, she's doing her thing. We have this new gang of people called the Unsanity, who are going there. Batman has to try and stop them. We get teases of a new character, and we also see Ghostmaker come in there. Like him and Batman are just like, we're best buddies. We're old time friends. Like yeah, like Batman's not working with Tim Drake or anyone else. He's just kind of working, or Selena Kyle. He's just working with Ghostmaker. Apparently, the rest of the family just was like, nah. I'm not dealing with you right now, Batman. So, anyways, so they do their thing. Him and Ghostmaker kind of are a little bit competitive. Sparring session back at the garage then, but I can beat you back to the house then. Like, yeah, they're, I don't know. I feel like there's more going on to it with those two. I feel like Ghostmaker may have a thing for Batman. I don't know if I'm just looking into that too much or not, but yeah. So there's a thing. Harley Quinn's doing her thing. We also see this man named Simon Saint pitching to Mayor Christopher Nakano. Now, if you saw my Detective Comics things, like he was a character introduced in Tomasi's Detective Comics run, and he basically was trying to run for mayor. He's a former police officer, and everyone was kind of behind him, like he lost his eye and everything. We have Simon Saint Simon Saint here is pitching this whole magistrate program with the peacekeeper thing. He also brings up a good point. It's like, when was the last time your officer successfully thwarted a major supervillain attack without Batman's help? And he brings up a good point there. And he basically pitches the idea of the peacekeeper one, and Christopher Nakano kind of has to think about it. So that's the stuff in Future State. So this is all kind of a precursor to Future State. But again, Future State was a possible potential future, as they stated in Infinite Frontier. So Nakano's got to think about it. Scarecrow, meanwhile, look with his freaky design, is kind of looking over things against Simon Saints, the people behind it. We also see Bruce Wayne in his home. Reporters are constantly asking him, like, "Hey, what's it like living with a former billionaire? How come he never does these things?" And like his neighbors are just kind of annoyed, like, "Just get lost, you fucking reporters." So they have their thing. There's Ghostmaker, who's just they're just bros. They're hanging out, and they're sparring, and they're doing their thing. Elsewhere, back at Mayor Nakano's house, he seeing that his ratings are kind of lower on the TV, the Gothamites are starting to turn on him because he's like, oh, he made all these promises and he's not really doing much with it. But what's this right behind him? That's right, it's the Scarecrow. How he didn't notice that in his house the whole time, I'll have no idea. But it is some really cool looking art. So that was the first storyline. The Tinian stuff, like I said, it was a pretty decent issue. I kind of hope that other members of the Bat family get to be utilized more, like Tim Drake, because I feel like Tim Drake's just kind of been missing for a while. He was in Robin Eternal, but I don't know why he's not like working alongside Bruce. And Damian obviously has got his backup story. He's going off on his own journey before he goes back and jumps into the Robin book. But once that happens, then I assume they'll be working together more often. But yeah, it's cool to see Oracle there at least, kind of as an ally. But Ghostmaker's there too. Harley's doing her thing, and so on and so forth. So artwork, of course, really nice. Storyline's fine, nothing too amazing. I was more interested in the backup storyline than I was the first thing, but I'd say give it a read. It's fairly decent. So the next portion of the story is the backup storyline. It's only 8 pages, so it's rather short. So it's part one. The second part's going to be in Detective Comics, so I got to wait a few weeks to finish the rest of this stuff before we lead into the Robin number one, which is what I'm most looking forward to. So in Markovia, again, the art was by Gleb Melnikoff, and Joshua Williamson wrote this one, so he's going to be writing they're going to be doing the Robin solo together, and I'm very excited for that. The artwork here is really nice. Again, Jorge's art and Gleb's art combined together makes for something really special. So we see Talia al Ghul here. The artwork for her is really nicely done. She talks about, oh, well, I remember you doing stuff. She's like, well, welcome back, Damian. And Damian comes in here and he's like, I'm finally free of Batman. He's like, I'm not like my father or anything like that. So he's still going through his kind of angsty phase. And he's just like, Talia, I've come back to take my role as the grandson of the immortal Ra's al Ghul, heir to the demon throne, whether you like it or not. And, we get that moment where probably the first time in God knows how long these two have actually hugged each other. He's like, it's good to see you, Damian, even though I try to convince you several times. But she still is Talia. She still kind of has her remarks like, it's disappointing you return in defeat. And he's like, what are you talking about? I rejected Batman. He said, yeah, and what do you have to show for it? You promised me you'd at least be a worthy adversary. You have no resources, no money. Well, how was he running on his own then? Like, he had to have had some resources. No resources, no money, no home. You have no Bruce, Alfred, or the rest of that family to go to. Even those teenagers you work with are out of reach. You say you were free, and yet you ran to your mother. How uninspired. So she's kind of giving him shit, which is, kind of funny. Like I said, like, she's both being kind of like the most motherly she's been in a really long time. And she's just like, well, I'm disappointed in you, honey. It was only inevitable. You come back to mommy. So there you go. They're having a little conversation. And the League of Lazarus shows up, and Damien has kind of no clue who these people are. And then they kind of get into a little bit of a scuffle. And then the issue kind of ends where Talia is telling Damien's like, okay, Talia gets captured, kind of, and she's like, all right, Damien, kill this guy now. And Damien kind of looks at there, and again, we'll talk about this, and then it kind of ends on a cliffhanger splash, making it implied, did Damien kill him? Did he not? I don't think Damien killed this guy because they're setting up Damien on a hero's journey. Joshua Williamson really loves Damien and really respects his arc as a character. And if he's going on a hero's journey, he's not going to go, and start killing people again. Like, again, he read up on the history. Robin, Son of Batman is a very important storyline, and Damien going back to killing is, kind of against that. So I don't think Damien killed this guy. I think Talia kind of does, but we'll just have to wait in a few weeks until we see what happens. But yes, so Damien here, he's rocking a new outfit. We should see here. So he's still kind of got the precursor. It's kind of the precursor's new thing. I love he seems to have a lot of outfits so far that he's going to be going through until he kind of comes down to his standard Robin one. So he's kind of got the basics of the suit kind of there a little bit. The cape's a little eccentric. He's kind of got the red and black and gray there. The face mask is a little interesting though. It's kind of like it makes me think of like something you'd find in like Atlantis based things. So like the mask is kind of unique and stuff. And again, it is a really short, abrupt storyline. Again, only 8 pages, and it was kind of frustrating, like that it ended so quickly. I'm like, that's it. And again, I get it's a backup story, so I'm gonna have to wait for the second part. But it leaves on a little bit of an interesting cliffhanger, and I'm just really excited to read that Robin book, and I'm excited to see how the second half of the Demon Detective storyline is going to go, as it's kind of basically be like the prelude to the Robin book and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I was more interested in this thing than I was the main Batman issue. I know a lot of people were very intrigued by this one because obviously a lot of people are excited for that Robin book. But yeah, this is pretty good. The artwork is really nice. It just felt really abruptly short. Like I felt like, it just felt like a tease. Like I'm like, I want more. I read that too quickly. I need the next chapter. There's a sense of urgency there. Whereas in the Batman 106, I'm like, yeah, I'm intrigued, but this one I'm excited for. So there you go. That's Batman issue number 106. It felt pretty good to kind of talk about this thing, kind of skim through and, go over and discuss things. The James Tynion stuff, I'm excited where his run's going to go. Uh, See how other members of the Bat family are integrated into this thing. He's got Scarecrow as kind of the main villain. And again, I love Scarecrow. I love this really new, horrifying looking design that they have for him. It's really freaky and just like the little gas mask and all that. Like, that's a nice, creepy touch for the Scarecrow. So I'm excited for that. I think Tinian is a talented writer. I don't know how it's all going to play out. I don't know what's going to go happen with this whole, Ghostmaker thing. But I am intrigued and I am excited to see what happens with it. So, yep, we got that Nakano, Oracle on the team. I'm curious to know where you know the other Bat family members are, but I know Nightwing's kind of going off and doing his own thing. I'm very excited for Tom Taylor's Nightwing, which I will do videos on. But yeah, so that's that, and of course, Demon or Detective is the main draw for me in terms of this book. So yes, Infinite. That was the first Infinite Frontier review I've done. I will be doing a video on the Infinite Frontier issue number 0. I'm gonna have to go through and reread that again. That way I can kind of skim through and summarize kind of what happens with everything, because that one is a 60-page thing. This is only like, half the length of that. Now, the Batman books are only going to be once a month now, but again, there's like 50 different Batman books that DC is doing come March, and so like this thing will be picked up again like next month. Whereas the backup storyline, like with the Demon Detective, will also pick up in the backup of Detective Comics. But we'll see how Detective Comics is when that hits. So there's again some teases with the future state stuff with Magistrate and all that. But again, that's not all fully set in stone if you read Infinite Frontier number 0. But all things considered, it did feel good to read some new like comics again. Like I mean, we took kind of a 2-month break with Future State, which I read some stuff in there, and Future State really just wasn't my thing. I didn't like the scenario for a lot of the characters, but Infinite Frontier felt like a nice little bit of a hopeful start for DC again. Not as good as like DC Rebirth when that happened, with the excitement in that book, but it definitely had some good stuff in there. So we'll see what happens with it going forward. If you get the chance to check out Batman 106, and I will be back later on to talk about Infinite Frontier number 0. But if you like Batman number 106, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe for more excuse me, subscribe for more content on the YouTube channel. Got some more stuff coming up along the way. I'm excited to start talking more DC comic book stuff. And yeah, so that was Batman 106. Good stuff. Good stuff overall. Good stuff. Some things felt a little abruptly short and maybe not everything clicked with me fully, but I think there's some good stuff and well worth checking out here. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, take care now. Bye bye then, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.